Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
The phone wasn't ringing. Not in Malibu. Not in Beverly Hills. Not even from people who used to call just to hear themselves talk. John Cusack sat alone in a quiet house that echoed more than it should have. A script lay open on the table. He hadn't underlined anything. That told you everything. Somewhere nearby, maybe rolled up in a storage unit, maybe shoved in a closet, was a poster of a young man holding a boombox over his head, arms shaking, eyes hopeful, waiting for someone to look out the window. That image made studios millions, but nobody ever asked what it cost the man holding it, because Hollywood doesn't do follow-ups. It does replacements. From the very beginning, John Cusack committed a quiet crime. He was normal, not everyman the way casting directors like to say it, handsome in a safe, forgettable way. No, Cusack was recognizable. The guy who stood a little apart from the group, the one who listened too much, thought too hard, said the wrong thing 5 seconds too late. Hollywood prefers confidence you can laminate. Cusack brought uncertainty. He brought pauses. He brought characters who didn't know what to do with their lives and didn't pretend otherwise. That came straight out of Chicago, out of a house filled with books and arguments and theater people who cared more about truth than polish. While other young actors were being taught how to smile for headshots, Cusack was learning how to observe, how to shut up, how to feel uncomfortable and stay there. It showed. Even in the early stuff, the teen comedies, there was always something slightly off. He wasn't chasing laughs. He was standing inside the joke, aware of how fragile it all was. You could feel it in Better Off Dead. That wasn't teenage rebellion. That was existential dread wrapped in absurdity. Studios laughed, audiences leaned in, but nobody thought long-term. Then came Say Anything, and everything stopped. Lloyd Dobler didn't walk into American pop culture. He slipped in, quietly, awkwardly, like someone who wasn't sure he was invited. That was the magic. Lloyd didn't have ambition, didn't have a plan, didn't want to sell anything, buy anything, or process anything. He just cared, deeply, recklessly, without armor. That boombox scene wasn't romantic in the traditional sense. It was desperate. A last move from a guy with no leverage left, no confidence, just sincerity and a prayer. Audiences didn't cheer because it was cool. They cheered because they recognized themselves. And that's where the trouble started, because once Hollywood crowned him that guy, they never let him grow past it. They wanted the sweetness without the anxiety, the romance without the fear, the gesture without the cost. Cusack knew better. After Say Anything, he could have coasted. Romantic lead after romantic lead. Polished comedies, safe scripts, big paychecks. Instead, he took a hard left. The Grifters wasn't charming. It was cruel. Families devouring each other. Sex without intimacy. Love as manipulation. Cusack stripped away the softness and played a man shaped by damage, not hope. It rattled people. They didn't know what to do with him anymore. Then came political cynicism, betrayal, neurotic artists, men who talked themselves into corners and couldn't find their way out. Cusack wasn't interested in being liked. He was interested in being honest. That's a dangerous impulse in Hollywood, because honesty ages badly in a town built on illusion. Grosse Pointe Blank should have been a victory lap. Instead, it was a warning. Cusack didn't just star in it, he co-wrote it. He made sure the jokes cut deep. A hitman returning to his high school reunion, realizing everyone else moved on while he learned how to kill for a living. That wasn't satire. That was self-examination. The movie asked a brutal question. What if success turns you into someone you don't recognize? Audiences laughed, critics praised it, studios nodded politely, and quietly began looking elsewhere, because Cusack wasn't offering fantasy anymore. He was offering mirrors. By the late 90s, you could feel the ground shifting. Cusack was everywhere and nowhere. Big-budget action movies where he didn't belong. Prestige films where he disappeared. War epics. Southern Gothic mysteries. Ensemble pieces that treated him like furniture. He was useful, dependable, intelligent, but not marketable in the new way. Hollywood was done with mid-budget adult dramas. Done with men who talked too much. Done with ambiguity. Superheroes were cheaper emotionally. Franchises were safer financially. Cusack saw it happening. He didn't chase it. That's the part nobody forgives. High Fidelity was the last time Hollywood and John Cusack spoke the same language. Rob Gordon was Lloyd Dobler after life got involved. Same brain, same obsessions, but now there was resentment, and lists, and excuses. Cusack broke the fourth wall and talked directly to the audience like an old friend who knows too much about himself and hates it. It wasn't charming, it was invasive. Middle-aged men saw themselves on screen and didn't know whether to laugh or feel exposed. Failed relationships, emotional immaturity, living inside nostalgia because the present feels thin. Cusack didn't soften it. That was the mistake. Because after High Fidelity, the audience aged. But Hollywood didn't want to follow. The work didn't stop. The spotlight did. Smaller thrillers, horror films carried on his back, legal dramas that felt like echoes of a dying era, big disaster movies where he technically fit but never felt at home. Then came the real sin. He spoke his mind. No PR smoothing, no studio-approved neutrality. He wrote, he argued, he took positions, loud ones. Hollywood doesn't care what you believe. It cares that you stay predictable. Cusack didn't. So, the calls slowed. Financing got harder. Passion projects died quietly in development hell. He went overseas. He did television. He worked because he wanted to, not because he was welcomed. Here's the truth nobody wants framed this way. John Cusack didn't fall off. He stepped out of alignment. He refused to pretend uncertainty was a phase. Refused to package sincerity as nostalgia. Refused to age into a parody of himself. And maybe that's why he still matters. Because somewhere tonight, a man in his 50s is driving alone, music too loud, remembering a time when a movie told him it was okay not to have answers. That caring wasn't weakness. That being awkward didn't mean being invisible. That man didn't grow up worshiping franchises. He grew up with John Cusack. And Hollywood can replace stars, but it can't replace that.